Hello, humanity. My name is Brian James Hildebrand, with the glasses come off, here to do a reading for you from my book, One Spell. This reading is going to be about my main character, Blaine Allen, early on in the series, before he really has an understanding of what magic is. At the end of the day, I was walking to the bus when Grant shouted from behind me, "You threatened my girl?" I tried to ignore it and kept walking, but a quick glance over my shoulder told me that Grant and his friends were coming towards me. I turned around and looked them in the eyes. Maybe I should have just walked away, but I decided to stand my ground. "I don't want her spreading rumors about me," I said. "So you threaten her?" Grant shoved me to the ground. My instincts kicked in. I jumped to my feet and decked Grant right in the jaw. If he thought he could intimidate me, he had another thing coming. My arms were up in a boxing stance as Grant stood there in shock. My punch more of a surprise to him than actually hurting. I could see it getting red, though. I'd be leaving a nasty mark at least. "Not used to someone who fights back, huh?" Grant's friends surrounded me. I couldn't hope to take them all. I started wishing a teacher, even Mr. Brown, would come and save my hide. "Stop!" My head whipped toward the sound, as did all of the football players'. There was a thin, red-headed woman in a green t-shirt with blue jean sneakers and a small black leather jacket. She looked a bit like Sheila, but slightly older. "Amber, what are you doing here?" Sheila said, stepping away from her girl posse and towards the redhead. "Came to pick you up, sis," Amber replied. "Mom and Dad had to head out of town last minute. I see you're still dating this loser." Amber's movement was swift. The crowd parted for her as she walked right towards Grant. She stopped less than 3 feet away from him. She had certainly grabbed Grant's attention. While still holding me with one hand, he glared at Amber. "Get lost." "No," Amber replied, staring him down. "I think you're going to leave the boy alone." "Or you'll do what?" Grant replied as he tossed me to the ground. I picked myself up quickly. "Beat you up," Amber responded. She brought her hands up in front of her face and cracked her knuckles as she added, "Again." "Get her!" Grant's football friends went after Amber. The first one got a punch in the face and fell to the ground. Grant was focused on me, though. I was ready for a fight, but not the way he was going to fight. Covered in his football gear, he didn't throw a punch. He charged, ready to tackle me. But right before he would have made contact, I disappeared. I reappeared a couple feet away. Not again, I thought. It couldn't be happening again. It hadn't happened in over 2 months. Why was it happening again? I thought it had just been a dream, a hallucination. I didn't have time to think about that. Grant took a swing at me and almost knocked my head off, but I disappeared again. This time I was a good 30 feet away. Grant was getting angry and confused, though I can promise I was definitely the one more freaked out. Grant charged at me again. At least, it seemed like he was charging at me. He was moving like he was in slow motion. But why would he be moving so slowly? Could I have been doing that too? Like I had disappeared? That was a question for another time. All I knew is that this was the opportunity I needed to win a fight against a football-padded brute. So as Grant charged, I punched. I hit him square in the chest. The punch dropped him flat on his back. He wasn't getting up. Sheila screamed, "Grant!" She raced towards him, falling to her knees beside him, trying to wake him up. I was ready to get out of there. I wasn't even looking at the crowd as I started walking away. "Hey kid, want a ride?" Amber shouted at me. I saw that there were several guys on the ground around her. Guess she had won her fight, too. My bus was gone, so I nodded at Amber and headed for her car. Anything that would get me out of there faster than walking. "Sheila, come on, we're leaving," Amber shouted. I cringed at the thought of having to be in the car with her, but I guess it would be worth it to get out of there. The look on Sheila's face was one of pure hatred and disgust. "I'm not going anywhere with him." "Your boyfriend started the fight," Amber said. "Now get in the car, or I tell Mom your boyfriend started a fight. See how long he stays your boyfriend after that." "You wouldn't." Amber pulled out her phone and pushed a button or two. Sheila was in a furious silence before she said, "Fine, I'll go." She marched to the car, taking the front passenger seat. Arms folded across her chest, she refused to say anything. I hopped in the back of the car. It was pretty clean cleaner than my dad's truck had ever been anyways. "Let's go," Amber said as she put the car in gear and drove off. And as we drove off, the fight kept playing again and again in my head. I had done it again, disappeared and reappeared, and maybe even done something to make Grant move really slow. How did I do that? Why did I do that? And no one else noticed? What was wrong with me? Was I losing my mind? It had all started with that day, that night in the alley. No, don't think about it. It wasn't real. You remember it wrong. You didn't disappear. None of that happened. You just want to fight. That's all. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. That was your preview from Chapter 1 of One Spell. Goodbye, humanity.